Hey everyone, my name is Anne and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'll be crocheting a cotton candy puff sleeve sweater. I'll be making a small in this video, but you can find sizes X small to 3X large in the written pattern. I get a lot of questions about the size that I make in these videos, but I do only make a small. You can find other sizes in the pattern. I will link my shop in this pattern in the description box below, but we're just going to move on to the supplies. So to begin this pattern, I have over here my category 4 yarn and my 5.5mm hook. And then now I'm going to make a slip knot, and you can do that any way you would like to, but just tightening up on my hook right there. So now we're going to make a chain of 11. And to make a chain, you want to yarn over, pull through, and that's one chain. Again, yarn over, pull through. So I have just finished up my chain of 11, and now beginning into the second chain from my hook, we're going to be working a single crochet. So to work a single crochet, I'm going to insert my hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. Again, inserting my hook into the next chain, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. And then just working these single crochets into each chain across, and by the end you should have a total of 10 stitches. And so I just finished up working those single crochets, and then now to end each row you just want to chain 1 and then turn your work, and that chain 1 does not count as a stitch. So now skipping this first chain or starting into this first stitch here, we're going to be working back bar single crochets. So to work a back bar single crochets, inserting my hook only into that back bar of that first stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, and that's a back bar single crochet. Again, inserting my hook only into that back bar here, pull through 2. Then I'm just going to work these back bar single crochets into each stitch all the way along here. Alrighty guys, so I just finished up working those back bar single crochets coming across my row, and then now just to finish this off, I'm going to chain 1, turn my work, and again that chain 1 does not count as a stitch. So to continue your pattern here, you want to repeat that row, which is row 2, until you have a total of 60 rows to finish off your border. So I'm going to work this border up really quickly with these back bar single crochets, and then I'm just going to meet you back when I am all done. Alrighty guys, so I am back here with my work. I just finished up completing my 60 rows with those back bar single crochets, and this finishes up our border. And then once our border is all done, we're now going to get started on the front panel. So let's go ahead and do that. So to begin this front panel, we're just going to be working directly on top of our border here. So just turning my work to the side, I'm going to chain 1, and then we're going to treat each row like one stitch. So to do that, into this first stitch, we're going to be working single crochets, by the way. So into this first stitch right here, this is the first row, we're going to work a single crochet. Into the next row, another single crochet. And then just keep on working these single crochets all the way down our border here. And by the end, you want to make sure that you have 60 stitches in total. I'm just going to work this a few more times. Just like that, really simple. Alright guys, so I just finished up working all the way down my border here, and again you should have a total of 60 stitches by the end. And then now that I reach the end here, I'm just going to chain one and then turn my work. And then now skipping this first chain and inserting my hook into this first stitch here, we're just going to be working single crochets all the way back down again. So again, just skipping this first chain, I'm just going to work these regular single crochets all the way down my row, and this is row 2, which will be our repeat row. But this is really simple, just like this. Alrighty guys, so I just made it back down to the end of my row here. And then now you just want to repeat that row, which is row 2, until you have a total of 84 rows. So I'm just going to work this off camera, my 84 rows, and then I'm going to meet you back for the shoulder straps. Alrighty guys, so I am back here with my 84 rows, as you can see. And now once we are all done with those rows, we're now going to begin on the 2 shoulder straps. So just starting from right here, we're going to get started on that. So to get started on our shoulder strap here, as you can see, I have already chained and then turned my work. And then now just beginning into this first stitch, we're going to be working single crochets into 22 stitches across. So you should not be going all the way across your row, but just 22 stitches. Alright guys, so I am back here. I just worked across 22 stitches. And then now that I'm done with that, I'm going to chain 1 and then turn my work. Just like that. So now this is going to be our first repeat row. So beginning to this first stitch here, we're going to be working a decrease across. So work a decrease into this first stitch. I'm going to insert my hook, yarn over, pull through. Insert my hook into the next stitch, pull through. You should have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 3. And then after you've done a decrease into the first stitch, you're just going to make your way all the way down with these single crochets. And because of that decrease, you should now have 21 stitches for this row. And I just finished up working down here, and again this is our first repeat row, so just keep in mind we did a decrease into the first stitch and then worked all the way down here. So now I'm just going to chain 1, turn my work, and then this is our second repeat row, and it is really simple. Beginning into this first stitch, we're simply just going to work single crochets into each stitch all the way down. Nothing fancy at all, just working across this row here. And so I'm back here working down my row. Then now once I get to the end, I'm just going to chain 1, turn my work around. So now to continue this pattern, you want to repeat row 2 and row 3 until you have a total of 8 rows for this shoulder piece here. So I'm just going to work one more row with you guys just to show you what I mean here. So that first row we did was actually row 2, but our first repeat row, we did a decrease into the first stitch here. So I'm going to do the same thing. And then we just worked all the way across with single crochets after that. And so I just finished working all the way down, did a decrease into that first stitch. And just to remind you, once again, you want to repeat rows 2 and 3 until you have a total of 8 rows. So I'm going to work that off camera, then I will just meet you back when I am all done. Okay guys, so I am back here with my work. As you can see, I completed those 8 rows, alternating row 2 and row 3. So this is the side that we did the decreases on, and then this side should stay straight. But now this one side is done, we're now going to get started on the other side over here. So let's just get started on that. So I just went quickly off camera and I'm just going to show you what I did here. So I skipped 16 stitches from the stitch marker, well, from this point that we've already went into. So I skipped 16 stitches here, and then I inserted my hook into this 17th stitch, and that's where we're going to start this row. So again, I am back here really quickly. I just skipped 16 stitches across here, and then I went into the 17th stitch. Then now that I am in that stitch, I'm just going to slip stitch to secure, and then chain 1, turn my work around. So this is what our work should be looking like. So now just beginning into this first stitch over here, we're just going to be working single crochets just into this first stitch, working some single crochets all the way across, and you should have 22 stitches by the end if your stitch count is correct. So I am back here. I just finished working all the way across, and again you should have 22 stitches in total. And then once I get to the end here, I'm going to chain 1 and then just turn my work around. So now just starting into the first stitch of this row, we're not going to do anything fancy at all. We're just going to work single crochets across. So just into this first stitch, I'm just going to work single crochets all the way across my row. And then just keep in mind this will be one of our 2 repeat rows. And so I am back here just working across my row, and that completes our first repeat row. I'm just going to chain 1, turn our work, and this is pretty much going to be the same thing as we did for the other side. Beginning into this first stitch, we're going to be working a decrease. So to work a decrease, once again, you want to insert your hook, pull up a loop, into the second hook, pull up a loop, and then pull through all 3. So we did a decrease into the first stitch, and then now we're just going to work all the way across our row as you normally would with these single crochets. And so I just finished up row 3, as you can see here, did a decrease into the first stitch, and then worked all the way across. And then now you just want to repeat row 2 and row 3 until you have a total of 9 rows. So I'm going to work that up really quickly, and then I'm going to meet you back when I am all done. Alrighty guys, so I am back here again with my work. I just finished up working up my 9 rows, and as always I just cut and then tied off once I get to the end here. And then once you finish up those shoulder straps, that just completes your front panel. And then as I mentioned at the beginning, you're going to need to repeat this exact process one more time to make a second panel. So over here, I have already done that. I already have my second panel, just ignore the strings here. But I've already completed my work here. And then after you have completed both these panels, we're now going to begin on the seaming. So let's just get started on that. So now we're going to jump right into the seaming. The seaming is so easy to do. What we're going to do, we're going to seam as you normally would using slip stitches or single crochets, and we're going to seam these 2 side panels together. So just insert your hook into the corner and just seam these two panels together for the shoulder straps. And then once you finish that, you just want to turn your work to the side here. And then beginning into this very bottom corner, we're going to seam once again using slip stitches or single crochets, except we're going to stop 7.5 inches from the top, and that's going to leave room for our armhole right here. So just stop 7.5 inches from the top unseamed. Then of course you want to turn your work to the other side. Do that exactly the same thing, just starting from the bottom, working your way to the top until you have 7.5 inches unseamed. So I'm just going to work that up really quickly, super easy, then I'm going to meet you back when I am all done. Okay guys, so I am back here with my work. As you can see, I seamed up these two shoulder sleeves here, or shoulder pieces right here, and then the sides as well. And then now everything is all seamed up, we're going to go ahead and get started on the sleeves at the side here. So let's just get started on that. So now we're going to move on and get started on the sleeve here, which is actually really simple. But I did just go ahead and change my yarn, as you can see over here. And I'm just going to insert my hook right into the seam of our work. So I'm just going to insert, yarn over, pull through everything. Just like that. And then now I'm going to chain one. So we're going to be working a foundation row around our little armhole here. You just want to treat each row like one stitch. So just beginning into this first stitch, I'm going to work a single crochet. And then into the next row, I'm going to work a single crochet. And then into the next row, working another single crochet. And again, just keep in mind, you just want to treat each row like one stitch. And there is no exact number of stitches here. Just by the end, you should have an even number of stitches, which is going to be important for the future. So just keep in mind, you should have an even number. But I'm going to finish working this all the way around here. Okay guys, so I am back here with my work. As you can see, I worked all the way around here. And again, the total of stitches should end up as an even number. So now that I made it to the end, I'm just going to slip stitch into this first stitch to join. Just like that, and that completes our foundation row. So now we're going to make a chain of 67. Okay guys, so I just finished up working that chain of 67, and then now beginning into the second chain from our hook, we're going to be working up half double crochets. So to work a half double crochet, you want to yarn over, insert your hook into that second chain, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 3. We're going to do that into the next stitch as well. Yarn over, insert your hook into that next chain, pull through 3, just like that. And you just want to work half double crochets into each chain across. And by the end here, you should have a total of 66 stitches. I'm just going to continue working this all the way down. Okay guys, so I am back here with my half double crochets working all the way along my chain. And then now we need to connect this to our armhole here, and that is really simple. We're going to slip stitch up 2 on the side. So that is 1 slip stitch. There we go. And then here's 2 slip stitches. And that's how we're going to connect each row, as you can kind of see. So now I'm just going to turn my work around. And now we're going to begin on the first repeat row. So to begin this, you want to skip these first 2 stitches and insert your hook into that 3rd stitch. So I'm going to yarn over, preparing for a half double, insert my hook into that 3rd stitch, and then after that you just want to work half double crochets into each stitch all the way down, just as I am doing here. Alrighty guys, so I am back here with my first repeat row all complete. I worked those half double crochets all the way down here. And then now that I've made it to the end, I'm just going to chain 1 and then turn my work around. And now this, we're going to be moving on to the second repeat row. So skipping this first chain and moving on to this first stitch, we're simply just going to work half double crochets into each stitch all the way down. Just like this. Okay guys, so I am back here. I just finished working all the way down my row once again. And then now that is done with, we now need to connect this just as we did last time. So to connect this, you just want to slip stitch up 2 on the side here. That's 1. And then here is 2, just like that. And as you can see, we've kind of connected this row. So to continue this pattern, you want to repeat alternating row 2 and row 3 until you have worked into each stitch along here. But I'm going to work 2 more rows with you guys just to show you what I mean. So after I have connected this row, I'm just going to turn my work here. And then just like last time, skipping these first 2 stitches and going into this 3rd stitch, I'm just going to work half double crochets all the way down my row, and we're just going to repeat that row 2 as you can see. Alrighty guys, so I am back here down my row, and then now, just like last time, once I reach the end, I'm just going to chain 1, turn my work around. Then now beginning into this first stitch here, just like last time, I'm just going to be working half double crochets all the way back down my row. And then once I reach the end, I'm going to meet you back to then connect it to our side again. Okay guys, so I am back here with my work. I made it all the way back down. And then now, of course, I'm just going to slip stitch up 2 to join this row really quickly, just like that. And then now, just to mention this one more time, you want to continue, repeat alternating row 2 and then row 3 until you have made it into each stitch all the way around here. So I'm going to work that up off camera, then I'm going to meet you back when I am all done. Alrighty guys, so I am back here with my work. As you can see, I worked all the way along these stitches, alternating those 2 rows. And now once we have finished all that up, we now have to, of course, seam these 2 sides together, which is really easy. All I'm going to do is just turn my sleeve inside out and then just seam all the way down here using slip stitches or single crochets. But I'm just going to seam this up really quickly with you guys, and I'm going to meet you back when I am all done. Alright guys, so I just finished up seaming my sleeve all up, and then once I was done with that, I turned my sleeve back side out, I cut and tied off, and now this is all seamed up. We're now going to begin on the cuff at the end here, so let's just get started on that, and I will change my yarn over to the pink yarn to start this off. So here we're going to start on working on the foundation row really quickly, and as you can see I just changed out my yarn. So I'm just going to insert my hook into the seam here, slip stitch to secure just like this, and then I'm going to chain 1. So just like last time, you want to treat each stitch, well each row, like 1 stitch. So I'm just going to work this up really quickly with you guys. So just be getting into this first row. I'm going to single crochet into the next row, working another single crochet into the next row, and then I'm just going to finish up working this all the way around, and then I'm going to meet you back when I'm all done. Okay guys, so I am back here with my work. As you can see, I worked all the way around here. And then now, just as usual, we're going to slip stitch into this first stitch to join this row. I'm going to chain 1, turn my work around. So now beginning into this first stitch, we're going to be working at decreases into each stitch all the way around. So to work a decrease, I'm going to insert my hook into this first stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, into the second stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 3, and that's how we're going to work our decreases. Again, insert my hook, pull up a loop, insert my hook into the next stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 3. One more time, pull up a loop, pull up a loop, pull through 3, and you want to work these decreases all the way around your row. Alrighty guys, so as you can see, I work these decreases coming all the way around here. And then just as we normally would, we're just going to slip stitch into this first stitch to join that decrease row, just like that. And then now, right off here, we're going to make a chain of 11. So I have just finished my chain of 11, and then now beginning into the second chain from my hook, we're just going to be working single crochets into each chain all the way down here. So I have just finished working into each chain, as you can see, and then now we're going to connect this to our sleeve here. So to connect this, you want to slip stitch up 2. So just starting into this first stitch, going to slip stitch up 1, and then slip stitch up 2 just like that. And this is going to be very similar to the sleeve that we already worked, but as you can see, we kind of connected it here. So now I'm just going to turn my work. And now we're going to be working up our first repeat row of 2. So now for our next row, inserting my hook into that third stitch over here, so skipping these first 2 stitches, inserting my hook into this third stitch, I'm just going to be working back bar single crochets into each stitch all the way down. And so I just finished up working those back bar single crochets. Now I'm just going to chain 1, turn my work, and that completes our first repeat row. And then now skipping this first chain and inserting my hook into this first stitch, I'm going to be working back bar single crochets all the way back down my work here. And then once I have finished working all the way down my row with those back bar single crochets, I'm going to again slip stitch up 2 on the side to join. So there's 1, and then here is 2. And then just turn my work around. So now you just want to repeat row 2 and row 3 until you have worked all the way around your cuff here. I'm just going to work that off camera really quickly, should be pretty quick at least, and then I'm going to meet you back to seam this up. Alrighty guys, so I am back here with my work. As you can see, I finished going all the way around here, and this is what my cuff is looking like so far. So the last step we need to do is just seam these 2 edges together, which is really simple. All I'm going to do is just turn my sleeve inside out. Then I'm going to seam up these 2 edges using slip stitches or single crochets. But I'm going to work that up really quickly, then I'm going to meet you back when I'm all done. Alrighty guys, so I am back here with my cuff all completed, looks really good, and then I just cut and tied off once I finished up that seaming. So now this completes our sleeve. It looks really good, as you can see here. And then once you have completed one sleeve, you of course need to repeat the same process on the other side of your work. As you can see, I've already completed both sleeves. So now that is all finished, we're just going to go ahead and get started on the last section to our project, which is going to be the collar right up over here. So let's just get started on that. So now we're going to go ahead and get started on the collar over here. As you can see, I have changed my yarn color to the blue. And to begin on the collar, we're going to make a chain of 6. This is 3, 4, 5, and then 6. Then now beginning onto the second chain from my hook, I'm working single crochets into each chain all the way down. And after you worked those single crochets, as per usual, I'm just going to chain 1, turn my work, and then now moving on to row 2, this is going to be our repeat row by the way. I'm going to skip this first chain, insert my hook into this first stitch, and I'm going to be working back bar single crochets, just as I'm doing right here. And then after you finish working those back bar single crochets, you just want to continue repeating that row, which is row 2, until your collar here is the length of 17 inches long. So if that makes sense. But I'm just going to work one more row with you guys. So I'm going to chain 1, turn my work, beginning into this first stitch, just work back bar single crochets. And then you just want to repeat row 2 until your collar is 17 inches long. So I'm going to finish working this up, and then I'm going to meet you back when I'm all done. Alrighty guys, so I am back here with my rows. I ended up doing 64 rows in total, and this is 17 inches long. And of course I did cut and tie off once I reached the end. So now that we have our collar piece here, I'm going to grab 4 stitch markers over here and we're going to connect it to our collar. But I'm going to be back really quickly. So guys, I am back here with my 4 stitch markers, but I'm just going to explain this really quickly. So there are 2 points in the front and then they're the same 2 points in the back. And all I did, I took some stitch markers, which are just paper clips in my case, but I just put a stitch marker right here, a second one that was right here, just like this, just to hold it in place. And then there are 2 in the back, one right here and then one right here. And this is going to hold it in place when we go off to seam it. So now to seam our collar, I have over here my tapestry needle and I've just weaved through some yarn. And over here, if you can see these 2 edges, I'm going to begin by seaming these 2 pieces together. So to seam, I'm going to insert my hook, insert my needle. Then I'm going to pull straight through here, and I'll just worry about knotting it later. But I'm just going to weave back and forth to seam this. And so since I just finished up seaming these 2 pieces right here, now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to take my needle, weave it through the bottom, and then connect it. Sorry, there's a lot of string here, but I'm just going to connect it to the bottom right here. So just pulling it straight through. And then we're just going to weave back and forth to connect the collar to our bodice. So hopefully you can kind of see what I'm doing. Just like this. So I just worked some of this up for you guys. So if you can see in the back, I'm weaving my needle back and forth. And basically this is really simple. I'm going to work this stitching all the way around here. And then once I reach the end, I'm just going to cut and tie off. But I'm just going to finish seaming this all up. Then I'm going to meet you back when I'm all done. Alrighty guys, so I am back here with my work. I just finished up seaming my collar all the way around, and now we're all done with the collar. And then after you finish that, you're pretty much all done with your project. The only thing left to do is just weave in all of your loose ends. But after you're done with that, your beautiful puff sleeve sweater is all complete. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. If you guys enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please consider liking and subscribing to my channel. If you bought this pattern, it would be very helpful if you left a positive review on my new shop. Thank you guys so much for watching.